Today on the workbench, I've got a new project. This is a Bachmann Spectrum EM1. Got this a few years back at a train show. Just never have done anything with it. So I figured while I was working on some steam, I would just keep that theme going and dig this thing out and get it set up. So it is DCC equipped. It does have a small speaker in it, and it's one of the old Soundtraxx decoders. It is a 21-pin decoder, but I'm going to change that out. I'm going to put in a one of the Blunami steam decoders. I'm going to put it on a NixTrainz decoder buddy, one of the minis. I've got a scale sound system speaker. There you can see that number, 2812, FFRN 2812. And I've also got, these are new from NixTrainz, the Power Bridge 3. This is a two-wire stay alive. Now it does come with these small capacitors, but I'm going to upgrade the capacitor to one of these. This is a, let's see, what are they? They're one farad. So two of these will should give us enough power to move this thing with any problems on the track. But that is, you can do that. You can upgrade that decoder with that, or that stay alive with those. They're actually the same capacitors that come out of a scale trains locomotive. But anyway, we'll get that all together, and I believe Nick has a video of how he assembles these on his YouTube channel, Nick Santo. So we'll go ahead and we'll try our own, and we'll get the locomotive out of the way. Now this does have LEDs in it, so I'm not going to have to fool with the LEDs. This thing is really simple to take apart. There's 4 screws, one in each corner. So we'll get those pulled out. Well, we'll get it pulled out. I know those things are loose in there. There, one of them come out. There's another one. Well, I've got 3. Let me see if that'll, okay. Yep, it'll pull right apart. And we gotta get those connectors through so we can get the tender shell out of the way. Well, that didn't do me any good at all. Okay, so I've got a lot of stuff here in the way, it seems. And there, the 4th screw fell out. So let me move those. Get that locomotive out of the way. So there you can see the 21-pin decoder. I'm going to go ahead and pull that off, so we don't need it. And I'm going to go ahead and, of course, the other thing is, all these wires, I could just put this thing right on here and it would be fine. But I can't do that. I want to use one of the NixTrainz boards. I've always had good luck with them, but they don't solder these. You know, and I understand why they don't solder them, but if I'm going to go ahead and go through and solder all those connections onto this board, why not just change the board out? I'll have 1,000 ohm resistors. Well, so the speaker wires have been cut on this. So I never tried this before I started taking it apart. But we'll get this speaker out of here. So yeah, that was cut there. But anyway, we'll have our speaker. That'll set right in there. Have our decoder buddy. Open that up. And then I can put this, I'm going to put it up toward the front because I'll have more room. So I'll be able to put that in here. I'll cut that tab off that held this on. Now I'm going to leave this stuff hooked up for a minute. That way I can go through and decipher what's what. But yeah, that can sit right in there. And then I'll have room. Get this keep alive or stay alive open. So this thing is tiny. That's the whole unit right there. We can put it back here in the back. That'll work out really well. These are the 2 capacitors that came with that. So I'll save those. And we'll be able to move right along here. All right, let me get this out of the way. And I'll put that far enough forward or backward. Okay. Yeah, and we'll go ahead and cut some of this stuff out of the way. Get that off of there. Go ahead with some alcohol here. Got one of these little alcohol pumps. Get that thing fired up, get it primed. That away. Make sure I've kind of got that straight. Yeah. Got it sitting up on top of that screw, which is what I didn't want. There we go. Now we're good. Okay. Now we can start going through these wires. So the first thing that I'm going to do that I know is easy are these track pickups. So I have, let me pull that clip off. So these two wires are track pickups. One of them is just right off of the tender, and the other one is off of this plug. So I need to see which side this is. Get my meter out here. Okay. So it seems like this is the right hand or left hand side. That is the left hand side. That meter put away. So we'll put that over here on this side of the decoder buddy. I'll end up stripping that down a little bit. That way we won't have all that wire sticking out. But we'll go ahead and put some flux down through there. Put that speaker together here in a minute. And we'll go ahead and tin all of these. Just as soon as I start on that, that always makes me want to sneeze. Every time. So I'm going to cut some of this off because I don't need all of it. That'll be plenty. We'll get rid of 4 inches of wire there. And then these two will sit together. We'll try to do those one at a time. Get some flux on that. Okay. Like I say, now I gotta sneeze. Well, I need to find my other tweezers. They're a little bigger tip because I'm going to be fighting this thing all day. If I don't, yep, we'll do it like that. There's that. Okay. There's that track pickup wire. Now, those are motor. But I'm going to do this other track pickup wire off of this harness. And it just has the one wire on it, but I'll go ahead and cut that. There's another 4 inches of wire we've gotten rid of. So we'll make this a whole lot neater also. I have found that, so this is Chip Quick paste flux, and I use, this is Kester's 686 liquid. I like to use the liquid on the board and then the paste on the wire. That way I don't make a mess with the liquid. Okay, so there's the track pickups from the locomotive. Before I hook these track pickups up and the light, I am going to do the speaker. That way I can run my wires over top of it and I won't be in my own way, if that makes sense. So that'll set right like that. And I can put some double-sided tape right here on the edges. And that'll hold that down. But first I need to get this ready. Get these out of the way. Throw all that away. I don't use any flux on these speaker tabs because they take solder really, really well. And I've got a couple of pieces of wire here that I'm going to dig out. This is ESU wire. Go ahead and flux this. Clean that tip off. And I don't need much wire. Okay. Okay, I'll go ahead and strip these, put some flux on them, and leave them the length I have them there. And then I'll get some tape in there. So the other thing I'll do before I mount that is just go ahead and hook it up. Because why not? That'll sit neatly right there. So let me get a little bit of alcohol. Clean this edge off. Get some more double-sided tape. We'll have our speaker mounted. That may, yeah, it'll work. I'll trim that up a little bit probably. Now I just got to get the backing off of it. Come off of there. There we go. Okay, there's our speaker mounted. Now I can go ahead and get this picked up, or get this wire for the rear track pickup. Get it hooked in there. And just to make sure, it does say right rail on the board, but I am going to test that. This thing doesn't pick up very well. But it is the right rail because I can see the insulators on the board. So another good reason to have the stay alive on it. Right rail. I'll go ahead and put it. No, I got to put it on that side. And I'll just leave that one the length that it is. Some flux on it. Trim that off just a little bit. as well just go ahead and tin these other two pads for the rear light. That cleaned off. I won't need that other track pad over there. So there's our track pickups. Okay. Now these are rear lights right here. We've got our positive and our control. So, of course, just go ahead and pull that off. I am going to cut some of this wire off. Save a couple inches of wire there. That just keeps it a little neater in the end when we go to put everything back together. So there's our plus. Now we can get to our function wire. Cut it off a little bit. Okay, so there is the wiring for the rear. Get rid of them little caps. So I've already got the speakers hooked up on that, so I don't need them wires hanging around there anymore. So this is a 4-pin harness. So we've got, we'll go ahead and tin the motor pads. And I'm just going to do them one at a time, like I've been doing everything else. If I can get them apart, well. Yeah, I'm not going to fool with that. There. And actually, I'm just going to cut that down a little bit. Cut a few inches off of that. And, yeah, I'll pull the other one off too. Cut them both the same length. The only other wires we have for that are the headlight, front headlight wires. And no, I'm not sure which side is which for the direction, but that's easily changed. Trim that down a little bit now. I think I say this every time I put one of these in. I've got a 50-50 shot at the correct orientation for the wires. And I think 50% of the time I get it right. So, clean that off a little bit. It'll look a little neater. There's our motor hooked up. Now we can go with our lights. And we'll cut this one. And that was the, okay, so that's the function wire. And I'll show you here in a second. Because these boards are labeled, these original Soundtraxx boards, see that where it says HL? Well, let me get this wire done. You probably couldn't see that the way it was, so I'll hold it a little close to the camera. Closer. Boy, that's some stiff wire. Okay. So there's that. Get that out of the way. But if you look, you can see an HL right there. So that's the function, and then you've got the U plus. For the positive wire. Get rid of that. So now there's another board. That's my meter shutting off. After I get this one, I'll be able to test this. To make sure that it works. Then I can start on the keep alive. Okay, it's no wonder there's a lot of breakage with these wires wear out. It's because they're so stiff. So at some point, of course, I think now they've changed their wiring and it's not quite as bad as what these are. These are pretty good, or pretty stiff. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put this decoder on here. And I'm going to try it out, and then I'll be back and we can hook up the keep alive. Okay, so the locomotive, it works really good. I'm going to zoom in here. Now we're going to start on these capacitors, or just stay alive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook these up in series. So I'm going to hook the negative, which is this white stripe, to the positive side, which is nothing, or you can tell by the length of the wiring for it. But what I'm going to do, after I get my pair of pliers here, I'll take just a little ways down. There's no set distance here or anything. I'm just going to bend a 90 in that. And then I'll do the same thing for this positive. Bend it right back. And that'll be somewhere close. I can hook these together, and then we'll cut them off. So that looked pretty good there. We'll go ahead and cut that. We'll cut that. We'll make sure. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. We'll go ahead and put some flux on these things. That way I can get them tinned. And I'll get these things close together here. Actually, let me bend that just a little bit. Make it a little straighter. Now we'll put some heat to it. Okay, so that's together. Now all we've got to do is make our connections. And I have cut these wires off. It goes to this gray and black wiring on this, and let's see, or brown and black, I mean. So the black is the negative, which will hook up on this side. Cut that a little, and we'll trim this one up. Okay. Go ahead and tin both of those. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trim these down. That way I can put heat shrink over top of them. And I'm just going to cut that. I'll cut that even with that up there. So, no biggie. We'll flux that. And then I'll get out this. Boy, those take solder really, really well. Okay. So let me cut some heat shrink here. That way I'll have that covered up. So I've got this one on the black. Okay, that'll cover that. And then our tan, let me get my heat shrink on there. Come off of there, crazy thing. Okay. So I've got that made up. Now I'm just going to put a little heat to it to shrink it down. That way it won't come off. And I think I have a piece of heat shrink big enough to put over the whole thing here. Or I could cover that, you know, plastic liquid tape. But now, get the tender out. And yeah, I'll just leave that plugged in. Pull the decoder off. Now I'm ready to use the ground and the positive. Oh, and I was right. So the hooking the motor mounts up, or not the motor mounts, but the motor wiring, I nailed it. Like I said, I had a 50-50 shot. And I got it. So now the red wire is the positive on this. So that'll go to the U positive side. And I had this 10, so. And then the black is the negative. There's our stay alive. I'm gonna mount it back here. And I'm going to keep the board open. I'm going to mount it onto that speaker. That way it won't get hot. So let me get some alcohol on that. Yeah, I need a different one because that one's got flux on it. So, and then I'll clean this off back here too, because I'll tape that down. Piece of tape here. Well, sometimes this tape will cooperate and other times it will not. And right now is one of those times it doesn't want to. So, anyway, there's that mounted. That'll be fine. Now I'm going to try this out. And, I mean, we should be good to go. And then I'll cover that up. But, yeah. This installation is complete. There's that. Yeah, I'll probably take liquid black tape and put on that. So let me clean these off. Another little piece of tape. And then we'll have this completed. So, but it's not going to hit anything, so I'm not too concerned with it. Okay. Yeah, I'll use the liquid black tape instead of wrapping that up in heat shrink, because if you do that, it might make that warm. But I'm gonna go ahead now. I'll try it out, and then all I'll have to do is put the shell on. So the next time you see it, it'll be on the test track. Okay, so I had it up on the test track. That works. The keep alive, now I did go ahead and I put some liquid black tape on those leads, so that's all good to go. I let it set for probably a minute to charge. I turned the power off, 5.5 seconds, and that was with it running at speed step 1. So yeah, that's good enough for that big of a locomotive. So now all I got to do is just put this thing back together, put the 4 screws in it, and it will be good to go. So we'll get those stuck through there. I am going to change that coupler out. Put a KD coupler on it. But okay, so I'm going to put the screws in this. And I know I've already said it once, but the next time you see it, I can get that in there, it'll be up on the test track. So, alright. Okay, we've got this up on the test track here. We've got it all complete. Of course, it's only got 2 lighting functions to it. The front headlight, and we got the rear headlight in it. Got the Blunami decoder and scale sound system speakers, and of course the NixTrainz decoder buddy and his new Power Bridge 3 Stay Alive. So this thing, it does have a pretty good sound to it. We'll go ahead and blow the whistle. And this is a really simple one. You know, not a whole lot of frills to it, but I didn't want a lot in this. So, of course, we can change anything we want to with the Blunami decoder. We don't have to use the CVs. You can do it all right on the screen. So that makes it simple, but let's make this thing move here. So that is speed step 1. We'll go ahead and change the direction. You can see the rear headlight. We'll back it up. back it up there and then we'll run it by it, you know, a little higher speed step just so you can see it work. So yeah, I think that it came out really well, and a nice simple project. So we'll back it up again here. Oh, and I did almost forgot to mention with the with that power bridge on there, when I shut the power off, if it's running, I can get about 5.5 seconds out of it to run. If it's just the sound and the lights, I didn't see how long. Let me back this up here a little bit more. That way you can see you'll be able to see the light. So you can see the front light, and you should be able to still hear that. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut the power off on that, and we'll see how much time we have on that. So we got about 15 seconds with just the lights on and it not running. So that's pretty good. All right. Thanks for watching.